Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video we're going to be talking about a rare giallo film that I had very low expectations from, but actually really enjoyed it, and this one was a bit of a crazy one. Now, I very rarely talk about giallos on the channel. I have said before, but it's probably my least favourite subgenre in horror. Other than a very small number of giallos, I don't particularly like them all that much. I find them hard to get into and they don't really sustain my interest. So this particular movie, I didn't really think I'd get much from it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. The movie in question is Murder Obsession from 1982, directed by Ricardo Freda. And this one had a few things in this which just really hooked me in and did it for me. A great location, decent story, the inclusion of an iconic exploitation actress, and a giant tarantula. Yep, we'll get to that very soon. So let's talk a little bit about Murder Obsession. So the story behind Murder Obsession is this guy called Michael, who's also an actor. He returns to visit his mum, who lives in this sort of giant Victorian mansion. But he brings his film crew with him and they shoot a little bit of a horror movie within this house during the time that he's visiting her. And while this is going on, members of the family and crew are killed off by an unseen killer. So, as I say, there's a few things about Murder Obsession that I like. The story was okay. Some of these giallo films can get a little bit convoluted. This one had its moments, but I think because I enjoyed this a bit more, I was able to follow it slightly better. So the story is pretty good. I'm not going to get too much more into that because it's kind of a sort of a giallo murder mystery where people are killed off one by one. And the deaths in this are pretty good. There's a little bit of gore here and there, but you never know when the killer's going to strike, and there were a few surprising deaths in this one along the way. I say this as kind of a murder mystery giallo. That's kind of it at its heart, but this movie kind of throws a few themes out there in terms of a little bit like slasher elements, and then even a kind of occult and devil worshipping angle as well, which is explored a little bit along the way. I find that really interesting actually, and you're never quite sure if that's really going down or not amongst all the killings. So that was a good aspect of this movie, and it just has a really effective kind of haunted house gothic feel to it. The giant Victorian mansion, it's very lavish. There's sort of there's essences of Hammer horror here and there in sort of the darkened corridors and the dimly lit studies that people sit in and have their conversations. But there's also kind of more of a seemingly underground kind of catacomb area and a full-on dungeon as well. So yeah, a lot of different things going on in this one, different environments and atmospheres that I enjoyed it. It's a good mix of kind of Italian giallo, Euro horror, and a bit of gothic horror sensibilities as well. As I mentioned, we have an iconic exploitation actress in this one, in the form of Laura Gemser, aka Black Emmanuel. She plays a supporting role in this movie and does a great job. It was great to see her in this film, and just good to see her in something that wasn't Black Emmanuel. But I am a fan of those movies, but that's like 95% what I know her from. So it's really interesting to see her thrown into this intriguing giallo whodunit. As I say, she puts in a good performance and has plenty to do throughout the movie. I won't say too much about what her character gets up to because, like I say, there is spoilers in this one along the way. But yeah, definitely appreciated the inclusion of Laura Gemser in this film. I really enjoyed seeing her in this one. And as a fan of silly creature features, I couldn't believe it when they broke out this giant tarantula which is lurking around in the bowels of this Victorian mansion. We see this actress running through one of the corridors only to run into a giant spider's web, and there the tarantula is suspended creepily above her. But it's not the only time it's in the movie. This tarantula wanders out a couple of times in the movie, and does it look fake and silly? Absolutely. But it's still a giant tarantula slumbering out of the dark depths of this Victorian mansion, which is just absolutely fantastic. It's so random. I've never seen anything like that in an Italian giallo film. But any movie that features a giant tarantula is always going to be a win in my book. It was so awesome whenever that thing was on screen. So I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. It's not a giallo classic. It's not up there with Argento or anything like that. But if you want a bit of an alternative giallo whodunit slasher, maybe give this one a watch. I only picked this up on a really cheap DVD. I got this from HorrorCon earlier in the year because, again, I had zero expectations for it, so I just got this on the day. It has had a Blu-ray release now from Rero Video, I think, so I'm sure that's a really nice release and will have better picture quality than this one. Although I've got to say the grainy picture quality for this did kind of complement the dusty, old-fashioned Victorian mansion and some of its dark layers in this film, so I certainly don't mind having this DVD. But yeah, if you've seen Murder Obsession, it goes by a load of other titles as well. But yeah, if you've seen this movie, let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought of that giant tarantula. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, a bit of an alternative giallo here for you to check out. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.